Greetings, loves. It is I, Tacticool Girlfriend. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm here in the TGF bedroom doing my dry fire, and I've got a couple of drills that I would like to share with you. These generally are here to help with weapon presentation and target focus. These are skills that are necessary for anyone who uses optics, especially on handguns, and it's something that pretty much everyone struggles with. Whether you're the most advanced or newest shooter in the world, these are probably going to be useful to you at some point, so I would recommend keeping them in your pocket and practicing them every once in a while. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the first drill that I have for you is called Mirror My Eyes. This drill was invented by some guy on Instagram named Stuffs and Pews. I don't really have any affiliation with him whatsoever. I don't even know the guy. This simply was just a brilliant drill that I found that I really wanted to share with you. So basically, the entire premise behind this drill is to help the shooter combat their tendency for them to bring their head down to their optic as they present on target. This is something that even the most advanced shooters regularly struggle with. I struggle with it a lot myself, and it is something to generally just be aware of, train around, and combat actively, because this is absolutely a perishable skill, and we do fall back on the lowest level of our training. So we want to make sure that we are addressing this in our presentation, in our form, and this drill is really good for that. Now, when we draw onto target, there is often a tendency to bring our eyes down to the reticle as we bring our optics up to our eyes. That's not very useful for a number of reasons. For one, it needlessly hunches your shoulders up, it strains your neck, it cranes your neck forward, it creates bad situational awareness, and it just is not good for you. It's not good form. Secondly, it's also inefficient. Now, instead of having just one thing that you need to bring up to your body to use the gun effectively, you are now moving your body too. So you are inefficiently trying to align two things instead of one. That creates a lot of room for error. It creates very inconsistent sight presentation, and it slows you down. So we definitely want to try to combat this as best as we can, and this drill is a really good one for that. Now, to do this drill, you need just a few things. Obviously, for one, you need your gun. Secondly, you need a mirror at eye level. It can be like the one I have right here behind me. It doesn't need to be a full-length mirror. It just needs to be able to show your face at eye level. Anywhere in the house will do, whatever is convenient for you. Then you also need some blue painter's tape, preferably 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide, and then you need a Sharpie. From there, all you're gonna do is simply get a piece of this blue tape, put a nice big fat dot somewhere a few inches in, and then you're just going to rip that tape right off the roll, and then you're going to stick it up on the mirror, such as the one behind me. So I'm going to try to put this at eye level so that it covers my eyes. That is the entire point. So if I step back to my position, I should not see my eyes, and I don't. I basically look like Geordi from Star Trek, and that's exactly what I need. Okay, let's run this drill. Now, first of all, whenever you dry fire, always make sure that your firearm is fully cleared. Then from there, you're gonna stand squarely in front of the mirror and make sure that that tape is covering up your eyes, both of them. Now, it's gonna look a little different to you because you're offset from my position, but trust me, basically that tape is covering up all of my eyes. There's nothing else above or below it. My eyes are completely covered by this tape. Then you're simply gonna bring your weapon up to presentation so that you're lining up your reticle with that dot on that piece of tape. Now, if you are in your bad habits here and you are gonna duck down as you draw on presentation to acquire your optic and your reticle, your eyes will suddenly become very immediately apparent because they're gonna be right below that tape. That means that your head moved, and it's gonna provide you instant feedback, which is great. I don't think that anyone's eyes are probably gonna just show up higher than the tape. That would be very weird, but I guess that's possible too. But basically, the entire premise is that you are simply trying to line up your optic with that target on that piece of tape without moving your head up or down. So it's simply gonna look like this. That's it. This also doesn't have to be limited to pistols. You can run this with carbines, no problem. It's It's a little bit more awkward with carbines. There is even more of a tendency for you to duck your head down as you get onto your optic. That's perfectly normal. And if your optic is actually situated at a very low height, this may not work for you at all. But if you are running something like a Unity mount or a Scalar Works, this should work just fine. As you start to run this drill, you can start incorporating timers, you can incorporate trigger pulls, what have you. There's all sorts of things that you can do with this. You just want to make sure that whatever you're doing, as you present onto target, that your eyes remain completely concealed by that strip of tape. Now, if you're still struggling with this out of the gate and you just, for the life of you, cannot get your head to stop bobbing down as you present onto target, not to worry, there is a strategy here. What you can do is take your non-dominant hand, make a fist, and press that against your chin. Then anchor your elbow into your abdomen. Then present onto target with one hand. When you do this, basically what you're doing is, for one, getting your head used to being in that position no matter what you do, and keeping it straight and upright. But secondly, if you do have this tendency to keep pushing down, you're gonna feel it, because then you're gonna feel your chin pressing against your fist. Hopefully, as you keep doing this, you're gonna fight that tendency. It's gonna give you good feedback, and eventually you should be able to free float your head flawlessly as you draw. The next drill I have for you is what I like to call Optic Obfuscation Target Focus. Basically, this is just a trick that I learned from Ben Stoeger. By the way, his book is really excellent. I strongly recommend it. Practical shooting training is honestly one of the best firearm instruction booklets that I've ever come across, and I do strongly recommend it. No, I'm not a shill for Ben Stoeger. Ben Stoeger certainly doesn't even know who I am. I just know a good shooter when I see one, and I know good advice when I hear it, and he's full of that, so I do strongly recommend that. But basically, the entire point of this drill is to help you target focus when you're using an optic. The problem is that when we're using optics, we are looking through a clear piece of glass, and it's not always apparent what we're focusing on. Sometimes we focus on the reticle instead of the target, and that can produce a lot of inconsistencies with our sight acquisition and our general ability to aim effectively on target. Now, when you're actually aiming properly on target, you should be able to make those shots. Everything should be clear, the reticle should look right, and if you're not, you're gonna have a blurry target and you're gonna have your reticle in focus, which isn't gonna help you at all. Now, how do we do this drill? Well, for one, it's very simple. We take our gun with our optic on it, and then we get, yet again, our blue painter's tape. We get a little strip of that, and we put that in front of the optic and wrap it around without obscuring the rear view of the optic. So basically, I've just completely covered the front of this optic with blue painter's tape, so I see nothing but my red dot and a blue field within the glass. Now, if you are using some sort of tackier tape, such as electrical tape or duct tape or whatever, you may not want to put the tacky surface straight on the glass. It may get kind of gross and gunky, and it's going to be annoying to clean up. So in that case, I would put either a piece of paper or just double side a section of the middle part of that tape so that you are not putting any sticky surface on there. Anyway, all that aside, just protect your optics, use common sense. Now, the idea with this drill is that you are going to present onto target, and what you should be seeing if you are target focused is your target with a red dot superimposed over it. Your non-dominant eye is gathering all the information about the target in front of you, and your shooting eye is simply superimposing that red dot. Your brain collimates these two images so that you get all the information of the target with the red dot aiming on the target without you getting confused about what you're even looking at. Now, if you're not doing this right and you're focusing on the reticle, you're just gonna see the reticle, obviously, but you're also gonna see a big blue blob superimposed over the target. It's gonna be very annoying, it's gonna be very apparent very quickly, and that's why this drill is great. It gives you really good feedback immediately, and it helps you drill out those bad habits. Now, once you've got these drills down, it's time to start pushing yourself. Incorporate things like shot timers, because everyone who's serious about training with guns should own one of these, and set par times for yourself to work within. Get your par times down to the point where your fundamentals start to fall apart. Then dial it back, increase that part time a little bit so you can work within your comfort zone and gauge just where you are. Then these things should just become second nature. It should become very mundane and boring, and you should be perfectly executing all these weapon presentations without any problems whatsoever. Once you're there, you then simply just bring that part time down a little bit and then try to work with more stress on the clock. Keep doing that, keep pushing yourself. We're always gonna need to try to push ourselves further and further and further, and we can only get better and better for it. Also, you can combine both of these drills. There's no reason you can't run both at the same time. Now, there's obviously reasons for you to isolate certain drills so that you focus on those issues and drill them out. But once you're feeling really confident with both of these, you can absolutely make more efficient use of your dry fire time by doing that combo. Well, I hope that these drills were useful to you all. I personally found a lot of utility in them and just wanted to share them with you. So if you did enjoy this video and found it useful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell too. Also, if you got your own tips and tricks for dry fire, I would love to hear more about it in the comments below. I also want to graciously thank everybody who is supporting this channel on Patreon. I could not do any of this without you. I don't monetize this channel. I don't run ads on it. I simply rely on the generosity of viewers like you. So if you want to go help out, you can always go to patreon.com/tacticalgf. The biggest contributors are named at the end of the video. And that's all I got for you today. I really appreciate you all tuning in. Please be good to each other out there. And as always, please take care. Bye! Nice.